let's do a 0 to 100 pull with a backwind and a bit of a downhill. 3, 2, 1, go! And there's 100. What is up YouTube? My name is Vinny and welcome to Road Blast Media. On today's video we're going to be doing a review of the Royal Enfield Himalayan. Now some of my subscribers may already know that I've done sort of a review on this bike, but it was my first impressions and it was the absolute first day that I'd ridden the bike. So there was a bit of excitement there and a bit of things that I kind of glossed over. I didn't go over the numbers or anything like that, and also I wanted to do a proper review after I'd done at least 1500 Ks on the bike to give you guys a proper rundown of what it's like to live with this bike and how it is on a day-to-day and things like that. So that is what we're going to go over on today's video. We're going to do a little bit of a talk about the specs of the bike and how it looks, things like that, and then we're going to take it out on the road and on some gravel to really show you what this bike is about. So before we crack on, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this video. There's going to be plenty more motorcycle content to come. I've just got a job at a motorcycle shop, so there'll be some new bikes coming to the channel, some different stuff, and it should be really interesting. Alright, so how about we crack on with the video. Okay guys, for the first part of this video we're going to talk about the nitty-gritty of things, the numbers. So on this beautiful bike it has a 411cc single cylinder air-cooled engine, which is an absolute statement piece of this motorcycle. It looks amazing and it definitely gets a lot of comments. It's a very gorgeous engine, but it is not a top performer as it only makes 24.5 horsepower and 32 newton meters of torque. But throughout this video I'm going to tell you why it doesn't really matter that it's that slow, because it can still do all the speed limits and it is great off-road. It is powered through a 5-speed gearbox and it gets mileage in the city of around 32 kilometers per litre and highway of 39 kilometers per litre. It also does a 0 to 100 in 10.79 seconds and has a seat height of 800 millimeters. So for an adventure bike it's pretty approachable for most people. It weighs in at about 199 kilos, so it's not the heaviest when talking about adventure bikes. It's still quite heavy in regards to motorcycles themselves, but it is on the lighter side, coming to ADV Tourers and bikes along the same ilk. You have a ground clearance of 220 millimeters, which is perfect for your ADV adventuring, and it also comes standard with a bash plate. So that comes in handy, when you've got some rough rocks and terrain. It protects the undercarriage of the engine and things like that. Yeah, it's actually very well equipped for adventuring, this bike, and that's partly one of the reasons why I bought it, is out of the box, ready to go off-roader. The forks are 41 millimeters and they have 200 millimeters of travel, and it has a 21-inch front tire, which is pretty good, and for the competition around the same cc range you usually don't get that, a 21-inch, and then we've got a 17 on the rear, so it is very capable for ripping up those gravel roads and off-road tracks and things like that. So yeah, anyway, to carry on with the video, we will talk about the looks now, and this is another reason why I bought this bike. I think it looks absolutely stunning. So as far as adventure bikes go, a lot of them are not that pretty, and a lot of them don't really look good, and they're not meant to, because they're made for a purpose, not for like a fashion show. I've got my other bike to look good. So this bike, as far as adventure bikes go, is very nice to look at. I love the round headlight. Obviously there's a couple of things that are a bit cheap on it, such as like the indicators. They're very bog standard, but you can't really expect premium cosmetic things on a bike that costs $7,500 in New Zealand and cheaper in other countries, especially in India. I really love the sort of crash guard design that they've done here with the Royal Enfield badge on it. It looks really cool. I also really like the dash. Now the dash is functional, you can see everything that you need to see. It's got a compass that works some of the time. You have switchable ABS, which is very handy for off-road when you want to do some skids and things like that. My only qualm with the dash, and this is the same with a lot of the other Royal Enfields, especially the 650s, is you do get a bit of fog in here. So that's a common thing for Royal Enfields, and it's not actually that hard to fix. I've just been a bit lazy. So there is also another thing that I'm not too fond of about this bike, and it is the fact that it can't really hold an idle when it's cold. You got to warm it up, and you either got to use the choke or hold the throttle on and keep it on at about 2000 RPM for about 20 to 30 seconds before it'll hold an idle, and it kind of gets annoying on cold mornings. Sometimes I'll be pulling out on the road and I may not have warmed it up enough, and I pull in the clutch and the bike stalls. So it is not the greatest, especially considering that it's fuel injected. It shouldn't really do that, but I have heard that it's not actually that hard of a fix. It's probably just a little bit of a dial up on the idle control there. So yeah, on this one I have fitted a Lextech exhaust to really unlock the full sound of the single cylinder. I think it sounds great. It pops and crackles and backfires and bloody sounds awesome, and it growls like a single cylinder should. Although in saying that, the exhaust on this bike is actually my favorite, like the standard exhaust. It's the same color, that sort of brushed sort of color steel exhaust, and it actually really looked the part. I just changed it out because I wanted some more sound, but I did like the look of the standard exhaust. It was quite a nice looking exhaust. It looked really rugged and off-roady, and yeah, it really suited the bike. These come in a bunch of different colorways. I went for the silver with the little black sort of sticker on the side. A lot of the other colors look really cool, but this one stood out to me. I quite like the very simple sort of utilitarian looks of this, as the reason I bought this was to be my daily rider in the rain and things like that. And for a rainy day bike, this is probably the best you can buy, because even full throttle you're going to struggle to slip up that rear tire being so underpowered, and that's perfect for what I wanted it for. And also the cost of this bike being so cheap allowed me to afford a very fast bike, so I can have the best of both worlds, you know, 125 horsepower and 24.5 horsepower. So yeah, that's a bit of a rundown of the things that I kind of liked and disliked. There is one more thing that I want to mention, and that is this little thing here. I've just put some duct tape over it, but within the first week the cap cover came out. That probably was down to the dealership that I bought it from just not securing it properly, and I've just kind of been lazy and I haven't gotten a replacement for it. The other side is fine and it stayed on there the whole time. And also this, it's a bit rugged, isn't it? You know, it's already got a bit of corrosion on there, and there's no cap for it. It comes like that standard. I know that's there to install engine crash bars or something along the lines of that, but I don't know, it was like that pretty much when I bought it, and I haven't really done anything to cover it up. You could get a little bolt or something to cover it, or install the crash guards. It also comes with the center stand, of course, which helps in protecting the chain, and it comes with this for helping if you come down on some rocks or something. It's not going to smash your sprocket or anything like that. It's a good little protection. It is only plastic, so it'll probably only work once, but you'd be glad it's there when it does work. Okay, that's a bit of a rundown of the outside of the bike and things like that. Now how about we hop on it, we'll take it out through some city streets to see how it performs on the normal road conditions, and then I'll get it on gravel, and you'll be able to really see what this bike was made for, because that is the whole reason why I bought it, was for adventuring and for riding in the rain. So yeah, I'll see you guys on the saddle. Okay guys, now that we're out on the road, I'm going to do a quick little demonstration of how this thing handles like through the city streets, and then we'll do a little stint in and see how it handles highway speeds, and then we'll go to the gravel and see how it handles gravel. So this has more than enough power to rush around city streets and towns and things like that. More than enough, you know, when the speed limits are only around 50 kilometers an hour, or you know, 30 mile an hour and things like that. It's a very easy bike to ride. It handles well. It's a lovely little city booster. It's even with the front wheel being 21 inch, it handles amazingly, and yeah, it's actually a really good bike. It seems to tuck into corners well, and yeah, it's really nice. So we'll blast through these city streets. I'll show you my new hometown of Oamaru. This is a very cool classic sort of historic town. You've got the white stone buildings, there's the opera house and things like that. You know, it's very stunning. So take in the views as I tell you about the bike. So yeah, this 5-speed gearbox is very smooth and satisfying to use. It changes gear nice and quickly, very quickly, without any hassle at all. It's very smooth, nice, and it has a very satisfying click when you change gear. It's almost unnoticeable. The clutch is amazing to use. It's very easy, approachable. It doesn't snap out at you. It's beautiful to use, this clutch. So yeah, it's absolutely wonderful for blasting these little tight city street roads, and I'll demonstrate that going through the historic district here. So this is the Victorian precinct of Oamaru, and we'll go for a little tiki tour through here. Yeah, so you're allowed to drive through and stuff, and there's cars that you can park down here and stuff. And yeah, no, it's very cool. There's always a lot going on here, art shows and things like that. And yeah, it kind of like, it takes you back in time, and yeah, it's a lovely little road to come through and explore the shops and stuff. Royal Enfield and Oamaru, it just makes sense. But yeah, anyway, that's a little demonstration of how it goes through the city streets, snapping through some gears and things like that. How about we get it onto a open road, and I'll show you how it can handle highway speeds, no sweat at all. Okay guys, now we're on a highway sort of road. The speed limit is 100 kilometers an hour. We'll do a little bit of a pull. Yeah, it's a little downhill, but you know, the Himalayan needs everything it can get, right? And just for a little slight note, I have removed the fly screen, not because I didn't like it. It's actually very, very functional. It keeps the wind off your face and your chest. I remove it because it makes the video more clear. So yeah, that's a good little note. The fly screen is very functional. All right, let's do a 0 to 100 pull with a backwind and a bit of a downhill. 3, 2, 1, go! And there's 100. And this thing will fly straight through to about 120, 130, and then it starts to die off. But it can comfortably sit at 70 mile an hour pretty much all day long with a little bit of revs in there. 100 kilometers an hour, easy as. And at this speed, there's not much vibration. It's actually quite comfortable, and especially when I have the fly screen installed, there's a lot less wind in my face and my chest, and it's actually quite a stable bike at these speeds. So that's a bit of a plus. People tend to think that this bike is too slow, but it's not for most countries. If you're in America, yeah, maybe it might be a bit slow for Americans, but everywhere else around in the world, it'll do all your speed limits nice and easily, and pretty comfortable as well. I mean, what the hell do you expect for 7.5 grand or however much you pay for one of these in your country? It's not going to be no speed demon, but it can do it. That is what the big thing is. People go, oh, it's too slow. Well, it's not. It is slow, but it's not too slow. Oh, detour, all good, all good, all good. No worries. Okay, so yeah, the road's been closed because of the exceptionally bad weather lately. But yeah, as you can see, did you see how it took that corner? Easily. So this thing handles higher speeds nicely, and it's actually a boatload of fun to thrash through some corners, because this bike can actually take a corner so fast for what it is, really. Like, you can enter a corner at some pretty serious speed and just kind of like slide your way through it. And this is like rough road too. We got like cow shit, everything, and it just handles it nicely. So yeah, that'll be like our highway speed segment of the video. I'll see you guys at a gravel track. I'm gonna try and track one down. We'll find a gravel road, and I'll see you there. Alright guys, we've tracked down a gravel road here, and this should be a good one. I haven't been on this one before, but the road that I wanted to go on was closed, so let's see what this one's got. I'll show you how the Himi handles some rough roads, and it does it with ease, I promise you. So we've got some lovely New Zealand sheep to look at, and how about we hit it? So this is just like dusty dirt, gravel road sort of thing, potholes everywhere, and we'll go over some potholes. The Himi just eats them up with that 21-inch front tyre, like over all the potholes, no sweat at all. And it's one of my favourite things about it, is how stable it is on a rough road. You know, I'm doing hundy click on a bloody rough gravel road, and it feels just as stable as it does on a regular road. Little bit bumpy, but seriously, if I was on any other sort of machine, it would just be, you know, it'd be dying. But this is still very comfortable on the gravel, and you can stand up nice and easily on the pegs. They're nice and wide. They've got lots of room for your feet, and it's very comfortable to stand up on. And yeah, it handles these rough sort of roads very, very nicely. Very nicely indeed. And I think it's definitely its biggest selling point is the fact that it can handle some shit, like boom 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 over those bumps like nothing ever was there. Boom, nothing. That's it. It's just, yeah, it's brilliant. So you can see some of the flooding in the fields there, and on the side of the road we've just had so much rain lately, so yeah, it's been really rough. But other than that, man, like, it's beautiful down in this place. It's just like sort of a once a year thingy that happens. But yeah, let's hit it on this road here. Oh yeah, see, that's not really like meant to be a pond. That's it's pretty rough, man, pretty rough, but we'll survive. So yeah, that'll basically do it for today. Bit of highway, bit of city, bit of gravel, just to show you what this bike is capable of and if it's the right bike for you. I really think it is. I absolutely love this bike. You know, nearly 2,000 Ks later, I still have a massive smile on my face every single time that I ride it. It's really fun to ride, it's rewarding. The gear changes are nice and satisfying. It carries a good speed. Yes, it is not fast. And I'm sick of people saying that it's a bad bike because it's slow, because that's literally the only thing that really isn't that great about it. Yes, the build quality is a little bit iffy here and there, but what do you expect for the price? You're not paying $20,000 for this thing. You're not going to get $20,000 worth of cosmetic bloody niceness on it, are you? It does what it's meant to do, and it does it well. Okay, it does it really, really well. Does it nicely, no worries at all, hits the gravel roads, does it all. You know, what more could you ask for how much you're paying? You really can't. Okay, so yeah, that'll wrap up my review for today. It's the fact that I really love this bike. It's brilliant, you know, it's good, it does everything it wants to do. And yeah, how about we wrap it up at the Fort Enfield car park. Sweet as, guys. Thank you for watching this video. I really love this bike. I'd recommend it to anyone wanting to get an entry-level adventure bike or anything along the lines of that. So yeah, thank you all for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll be back with another one very soon. Cheers, guys.